Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Hey, it's Tuesday, November 5th. A lot of big things going on today. Today was the trade deadline in the NFL, and well, I think the first college football playoff standings are coming out today. And boy, thought I'd make a video on such a big day. There's something else going on today that's kind of big. I can't quite remember what it is, but I'm sure it'll pop back into my memory. Anyway, hey, last video I did, I showed everybody some items I wanted auction, and was planning on keeping about half of those and selling about the other half. Bought a large lot, and it was kind of all or nothing, and I just don't want to keep everything for myself. So mentioned to everybody that saw that video that I think I laid out the ones I was selling, and mentioned that if you were interested, just to reach out to me. If you were interested in buying them, and we would go from there before I weathered them. Well, I've been in the weathering zone lately, so just wanted to show everybody what I've done in case you might still have some interest. As some of my friends know, the longer these things stay in my possession, the less likely I am to sell them. So even though I say these things are for sale, if you ever see the links disappear, I do list these on Facebook eventually. So if the links disappear, they either sold or I decided to keep them. But in any case, why don't I show these to you guys? First one is that Baltimore and Ohio. It's a 20-foot. It's the pup trailer with the 20-foot pup trailers on it, flat car. Pretty cool. I lightly weathered this. My intentions was to weather these in such a way that they would fit on anybody's layout. Whether you like your cars to look pretty brand new or you rough them up pretty hard, this won't look out of place either way. Put some nice weathering on each of the trailers. Did some road grime, really dulled down the tires and the undercarriage on the trailers. Put some exhaust soot and even some kick up on the trailers. These trailers, when they travel on the rails, they tend to get kick up marks on them, similar to what the freight cars on the trains themselves would get. I did some weathering on the deck plating of the flat car. Again, nothing too over the top, just enough to make some of that diamond plate detail pop, and weathered the trucks and the couplers so they look a little bit worn. So it looks like a car that's been in service, for somewhere between maybe 6 months to 3 years, I'd say. Kind of push that guy out of the way. Next one that I showed you, I actually did a live stream on this one, and something happened during, when you do a live stream, when you finish it uploads it to, kind of converts it to a video. Something happened during that conversion process, and the back 20 or 25 minutes of the weathering process got clipped, which is really weird because YouTube tells me the full length of the live stream is there for the video, but it will not play the last 20 minutes. So I'm not sure what happened, but I weathered this one in a live stream, and I'm really happy with the way it turned out. Put just a little bit of kind of scarring, bleaching, staining from a little bit of a load spillage, and that goes down both sides. But really what I wanted to do, I accentuated the seams on this one and faded it down. I wanted, when I look at these online, I use Railroad Picture Archives a lot, and these tend to weather down in such a way that they fade out. They go from that really deep glossy oxide red or boxcar red, whatever they call this, and it almost fades to a pale, almost true oxide color. These things do a great job of hiding damage and rust work and stuff like that, which is why the railroads paint them these colors. I changed the road number on this one, just in case somebody might already have this exact car. It's a different road number. I changed it from 50339 to 50839. I tried looking these up. I don't know if Lehigh Valley actually owned any of these, to be honest with you, these specific cars, but it's a cool car nonetheless. Really turned out nice. Again, I think very tastefully weathered, kick up and road grime underneath. painted the wheel dishes and couplers and stuff like that. It looks really nice. And then the next one I have to show, I've got two 50-foot box cars. First one that I weathered was this Pennsy unit. And I'll be honest with you guys, this one turned out awesome. Got some sun bleaching and fading on the roof. Accentuated the seams and rivets, some grime and kick up on the underside. Painted the trucks and the wheels. And just a little bit of sun bleaching and fading starting to occur. And that usually occurs towards the upper portion of the car. I'll be honest, I'm really happy with the way these guys all turned out, but this one really, really looks good. And I've got these all listed for $70, except for the flat car with the pup trailers. That one's $75. If you're interested in any of these, just reach out to me, shoot me an email, the LEMRR@gmail.com. Pretty cool. This one looks really good, guys. The pictures online on Facebook that I put up, I took them outside and photographed them in the sun. And the sun really amplifies everything. So under false light, they're quite a bit more subdued. Then I have this L&N box car. It's the same car as the Pennsy car. It's just Louisville and Nashville. I bleached this one down and weathered this one a little bit more. Put a little bit more grime down along the bottom and the underside coming off the gutters. And accentuated the rivet lines and seams a little bit more, put a little bit more fade and a little bit more bleaching effects on this one. This one looks really cool. Together, side by side, the two of them really complement each other quite nicely. I really like the way the pair kind of looks together in consist. They look great. Next one I have here, I actually have not listed. I gotta probably list this one tomorrow. I just finished it early this morning when I woke up. I was waiting for it to dry overnight. Seaboard system, 50-foot WaffleSide boxcar. Again, same deal. I found pictures of these online, and they all seem to be built in that early to mid 80s. And all the pictures that I found of them, they were pretty close to new. So I didn't really have a good feel for how these things weathered naturally over time. Now, these probably would have gotten patched out in the mid to late 80s to CSX Transportation. I don't know if they got repainted. I don't know if they just patched out the reporting marks. I don't know. So I just went with a grimy sort of kind of in-service look on these, and I'm really happy the way it turned out. I did my little kind of, I call it scratched grime effect over here on the Seaboard logos where it's yellow. I don't know if the camera will pick that up, but you come back in, I put everything on, and then I come back in and I literally scrape it off with a hard bristle brush. It gives a really cool sort of weathered look where it almost appears like something's rubbed up against it or caused some scratches in the grime. This one turned out great. I mean, it turned out really great. And I'll be honest with you, I tried a couple techniques that did not have the effect I was after. So this one took me quite a bit longer than I anticipated it would, because as I weathered it started to look too roughed up, and I didn't want that to happen. So I toned it back down, and boy, it turned out awesome. If nobody ends up buying any of these, I will have no problem running them on my railroad, because I really think they all look flippin' awesome. This next one over here, I'm sort of torn. I haven't listed it yet. I'm going to, because this is a super cool car. It doesn't fit in my collection. I just don't run a train that this would look right on. Now, Randy has like 3 or 4 of these cars that are Atlas versions of this car, but he didn't express any interest in this car. But when I got into this guy, I pulled it out of the box, and if you recall from the last video, this one is in the original wrapping. It had all the protection still on the couplers and everything. I don't think it had ever been out of the box before I took it out of the box. And this is the first time I've ever had one of these in my possession. I've never bought one of these for my collection. Really impressed with this car as a whole. So I haven't weathered it yet, because I think I'm going to just list it just in the condition that it's in. And if somebody wants it weathered, I'm always happy to weather anything that I sell. But This thing's just an amazing little car. The reefer doors over here have an operational, and it's kind of delicate, but it has an operational latch on both sides that opens. And then once that latch is open, you can actually open these doors, which is really, really cool. And it's kind of delicate, but and it only closes one way. You got to close that door first, and then the latch actually latches it shut. Really cool. And then on top here, same effect. And I don't know if you'll be able to see it on camera, but there's little latches on top of these. These would have been hatches for ice to the refrigerator car itself. While I think these had fans, they didn't have refrigeration units. They used ice, and these would be where they would load that ice. So these hatches, and these are made of these doors feel like plastic, but these are definitely made of some sort of metal, maybe brass, I'm not sure, because it's painted. But all of the ice hatches open up as well. It's really cool. It's a really cool car. The walkway is etched, some sort of etched metal. All of the grab irons and everything are metal. So it's a really cool car. So I haven't listed that one yet, but I think I'm going to list it. I think I'm going to list this one with the black Seaboard box car, and I also have one more 50-foot box car, the Chicago Northwestern ribbed 50-foot box car. I haven't weathered that one yet, so when I get that one weathered, I'll put up a listing with the 3 of these in it, you know, listed and priced individually. Wanted to share a couple other cars that I finished. Now I have plans for these cars, but I hope I can get them both of them in the frame together. I probably won't be able to. Maybe if I move them back a little bit. Hopefully they're in the frame. Let me kind of look here in the camera. Yeah, let me do this. Well, you won't be able to see the details. So I painted these 2 cars, and I don't know, I kind of call them blueberries. And they look quite a bit different because the story behind them would be these are explosives box cars, so they carry explosive agents. I've got placards on all 4 sides indicating as such. And so the backstory to these is the Lake Erie and Midwestern bought a batch of these from Rock Island coming out of their bankruptcy. So they got a quick down and dirty repaint and got remarked, and that would have been in the 80s, before these cars reached the end of their useful life and ability to be interchanged amongst railroads. Now, as my story goes, these cars aged and became dedicated explosives box cars, and that's why they're painted this way. You know, our yard workers affectionately call these the blueberries. Because they're painted this way so that they're easy to spot in the yard. They're easy to spot anywhere they are on the rail system. They're no longer able to be interchanged with other railroads, so they're for local service only. And as they've aged, you can see this one here is at the end of its really usable life. The way I represented it, it's starting to get rusty. I did quite a bit of rust effects on the ribbing and around the edges up, and I'm sure the camera's not picking up on it. I'm very happy with the way that rust work turned out. But kind of the bigger thing is, you can see that it's patched out. This was leased out to another railroad for some time. It's made its way back to the Lake Erie and Midwestern. We haven't changed the reporting marks on it yet, but you can see all the paint is peeling off of it. I did a paint effect that I sometimes like to use, where I basically painted a Rock Island style blue over everything here, over the light blue that I painted it. And then I came back in and removed the majority of that. And what it does is it creates a peeling paint effect. And the way I wanted this one to look was that it's been beat down, used, bleached by the sun, God knows what else. And it's getting ready for another repaint. You can see the fading and kick up on the ends, the placard. These would require in real life if they're coupled in a consist, they require placards on the sides. But if they're sitting alone or at the end of a train, any edge of the train that's not covered up by another piece of equipment has to have a placard on it. So I've got explosive placards on all 4 sides of these. And then this guy is essentially the same car, but it was rebuilt in 2012. I don't know if the date is showing up down here, but I set this one up as if it was redone in 2012. So this one has fresh paint all the way around. Still has the explosives placards. There would be 4 of these ultimately. And they would be servicing LAF explosives. You can, with a little bit of humorous interpolation, you can probably figure out what LAF stands for when you're talking about explosives. But they'll service LAF explosives on the layout, and they'll only be operated by Lake Erie and Midwestern local freight services, because these can't be interchanged with any other railroad. So I just thought that's a little cool backstory, you know, kind of some of the creative licenses we can all take with our own little railroads. Hey, another unit that I'm really excited to share. This is one that I'll kind of tell you the story about it. First off, this is a Protosound 3 SD45. This is an MTH unit. This is a Rail King scale unit. I bought this one many years ago, and it was actually the inaugural locomotive to run on the layout when we finally got our first loop of track, you know, the bench work done and the track was loosely set up. This was the first locomotive to actually go around the layout. I had bought it. It started off life as a Delaware and Hudson Rail King unit that had been pretty poorly repainted by somebody else into Canadian National livery. And I bought it that way, and it was represented for what it was. I didn't pay a ton of money for this. I think I bought it for $150 plus the eBay fee. But when I got it, the paint job was worse than I could have even expected. So always had plans to upgrade this one. So stripped it down to the bones and bought some decals and was actually going to make it a Wheeling and Lake Erie unit. Well, I bought the decals from, I think, CMR decals, and boy, those decals are terrible. They look beautiful, but I can't recommend to anybody, if you do this kind of stuff, to use CMR decals, not because their decals aren't beautiful. They are. It's crazy, and their selection is amazing, but their decals just don't lay down, they don't stick, they curl up. It's really weird. So instead I went with Conrail, and love how this one turned out. This is actually, you know, a relatively nice shell. I had to paint the handrails Conrail blue. I painted the walkways black so that they stand out the way they're supposed to. I painted the rear view mirrors or side view mirrors silver so that they kind of pop a little bit. I did put scale Premier pilots. So the front and rear pilots on this guy are not just the all-in-one cast Rail King pilot. They're the Premier pilot. So it's got a separately applied coupler cut bars, and it's got the MU hoses and everything. And then I just put a really light weathering on it. One thing that I did on this guy, I also made a little toolbox that these SD45s typically had out in the field for Conrail. So I made a toolbox out of styrene, a few pieces of styrene, and mounted that in front of the engineer's bulkhead like they would have been out in the field. So got this one all done, and I actually had this one done quite some time ago. It's been done for quite a while, and finished it up, put it on the tracks to test everything out, and for whatever reason, the board just decided to give up the ghost. And that happens sometimes when that's why I always say run these things as much as you can. So had to get a PS3 board for it, and fortunately I was able to find a secondhand unit that served another purpose. I was able to harvest the board out of it. That's where the board for this guy came. I actually flashed the new sound set. When I made this one, I thought it's like, oh, this is so great. MTH hasn't done a Real King scale SD45 in Conrail livery and sometimes, and then as soon as I started to do this, they came out with the Conrail one that is pretty much on your hobby retailer shelves as we speak. But I did put the new sound set from that run onto this guy, and man, that sounds awesome. They did a great job with that sound set. It really, really sounds great. Love how it sounds. So the next time I head up to the layout, I plan on taking this guy with me and getting some runtime, and we'll run the Big Blue on the layout. All right, one more thing I want to share with everybody, and I'm probably gonna have to pan out here a little bit because this is probably gonna take the whole table. So anybody that knows the channel knows that I like to run my stuff. I don't consider myself a collector of trains. I consider myself more of an operator of trains. Well, the maximum radius on our layout is 060, and you know, when we were in the design phase, I really wanted, we tried to map things out in Randy's basement in such a way that we could get 072 radiuses on the layout. But, geez, this thing's so heavy. We just really couldn't make that work. So I have this gorgeous, the Challenger is my favorite steam locomotive. I know everybody likes big boys, and they're cool, and the triplex is one of everybody's personal favorites as well. But I've always been a Challenger guy. So I had two Challengers. I had a Legacy Vision Line Union Pacific Challenger, and I had this. This is a Northern Pacific Z6 Challenger, and I also had a New York Central Niagara. I sold the Vision Line Challenger last year, probably a year, 12 or 14 months ago. I think I sold that one, maybe longer than that. I can't remember. And I got rid of the Niagara a few months back. It was a PS3 Niagara. So this is the PS3 Challenger. I bought this one directly from MTH. It was missing the board when I bought it, so I got a new board into it, and man, this thing's great. It doesn't work on my layout though. It needs 072 minimum, and that's a non-negotiable. It needs 072. It won't run on the 060 curves that we have on, 3/4 of our main line. So I can't run it on the layout. So this one I'm going to be listing for sale. It's a Northern Pacific Z6 Challenger. It's Protosound 3. I did flash the newest sound set onto it. Like I said, I bought it without the original board. It had no board in it when I bought it from MTH, but I did get a board into it. And it was missing both boards. These have two boards. This has a tender board and it has a boiler board. So it didn't have either board. So the boiler board I bought brand new from MTH. And the first one they sent me was bad. But the one that's in it now, I got a second one, and that one's fine. The power board is a PS3 Steam board with hardly any time on it. So yeah, never been able to run this on the layout just because it won't go through my curves. So I decided to sell it. It's gonna. I took pictures of it today. I've got to make the ad for it, but I'm gonna list it for $11.95. So it's essentially a brand new a brand new Challenger. So if anybody wants a Challenger or wants a beautiful piece to display or loves the Northern Pacific, reach out to me. You won't be disappointed with this thing. It's literally brand new condition. $11.95, which I think it's either $500 or $600 less than the retail of the newest releases. And that probably puts it $350 to $400 less than what you can buy them for from a retailer brand new. But yeah, just thought I'd share that with you guys. Got a bunch of stuff going on. I've been staying busy. I've got so many projects to work on, but had a very productive 3 or 4 days, and just thought I'd kind of throw this out here real quick for a midweek video. Had my daughter this weekend, but I'm hoping to get up to the layout sometime in the very near future, so can run some stuff and make some operations videos. But hey, hope everybody's having a great Tuesday. We had a gorgeous 80-degree day here in Central Ohio, which for early November, that's very non-typical for us here. Weather's beautiful, leaves are turning, football season's in full swing. If you haven't voted and your polls are still open, please get out there and vote. I don't care who you vote for. It's just, take part in the privilege that we all have in this country when it comes to voting and democracy in general. But hey, appreciate everybody stopping by and spending a few minutes with us here at the Lake Erie and Midwestern Railroad. Hope everybody's doing great. Happy railroading, everybody, and take care.